Hi BookTube. So it's been a while since I filmed a video, but as you can see, I've been busy. I actually got some bookcases, and look at me. I'm like a real booktuber here with a bookcase and some books behind me, which is normally not the case. Some of these are my boyfriend's books, but like the whole bottom part is empty. But because when we were moving, and one of my goals, one of my New Year resolutions for 2020 was to read all the books that I owned, and so quite a few of those I donated to the library or the little free libraries, and so was less boxes for me to move cross country. But some of these I've read, and some of these I haven't. But I thought I would talk about my long weekend reading plans. I'm very ambitious with my reading plans. Like always, like you give me a prompt or something, I always want to gonna try and achieve like the highest goal possible. There's no right or wrong way to do your Thanksgiving weekend, but I'm just gonna see what I can do. And I don't think I'm gonna achieve my goal because quite a few of these books are pretty big. So first, I thought I would talk about the one fiction book that I'm gonna be hopefully finishing, and that is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. Let me turn this brighten this down so we can see it. Does that help? Yeah, okay. And this is the third book in the Stormlight Archive series. And I have been kind of sort of participating in Stormalong that was hosted by several booktubers. And I've been reading each book like over the course of 2 months. Normally if I pick up one of these books, like a fantasy book, I normally just dive right in. And I'm in and out of it in like, I don't know, a couple days. But I've been slowly digesting it and just reading it on my lunch breaks. I'm about like 75% of the way through this book, so I'm hoping to finish it by the end of this month, so that next month I can start Rhythm of War, which I have right here. My boyfriend gets these, but they're so big. Like I think they're over like 1,200 pages, and I like, of course, knowing me, I like the ebook. So yes, I have the physical copy, and it's really pretty to look at, but I do like the digital copy just for the sake of my wrists and my eyes. I mean, yeah, it's just a win-win there. But this is a fun fantasy series, like an epic fantasy series. This is the third book, like I mentioned, and it's part of an ongoing 10-book series, and they're all like extremely large, like this, like 1,200 pages or up. I feel like each book seems to be getting a bit bigger, a bit longer. Each one of this, we'll see what the 10th book is gonna be like. But this is part of the Cosmere universe that Brandon Sanderson is writing. They're all of his books are kind of interconnected. Well, most of them are. And so I can't really explain much about this book because it's the third book in the series. But you follow these characters through the fantasy world, and there's lots of sword fighting. There's shard blades. I think Brandon Sanderson does a really good job of writing battle scenes. Like the action is always very well done, and the magic system is interesting in this. It's like each of the magical, I don't like the magical people in the world are connected to these, like, I don't know, kind of like spirit creatures called Spren, and they're in this another realm, but they're coming into like the earth, their realm to help each specific individuals with their powers to save the universe from evil. So yeah, that's the very rough idea of this. And then going to nonfiction, because of course I'm participating in nonfiction November. Oathbringer was the only book I've been reading that's a fiction book. So it was book one I started back in October, but everything else I've been reading has been nonfiction, and it's been going pretty well. I haven't read as many books as I would not like, but as I normally do, because a lot of them, they're more denser text. It takes longer to process, and then again, a lot of them have huge page counts. But this is a physical book that I recently got from Powell's. The Stars, the Snow, the Fire, 25 Years in the Alaska Wilderness by John Haynes. It's a memoir. And John Haynes is a poet. And so I really, of course, I like his writing style. Like I think like poets, like I think can transfer over pretty well to writing. I always expect like the prose to be well done, and this is following. He is living like basically like homesteading about 80 miles east of Fairbanks, so like well into like the center of Alaska, and he's breaking trails, and he's hunting and trapping food for himself, and really living the solitary life. He gets married twice during this volume, but the wives don't seem to, I don't know, play much of a part, at least in his portrayal of his life there, because it's very much his solitary. And even when the wife is in the cabin with him, he goes off on expeditions for a week at a time, hunting and trapping. The hunting and trapping part is really hard for me to read because it's very gruesome, very it's very imaginative. I can imagine it pretty well. And so just talking about the skinning of the animals and the wet skin and the frozen bodies, and it's just But I of course I always like an Alaska book, and so yeah, this one I'm really liking. And then the audiobook I'm going to be continuing on with, I just started this morning, is Erin Brockovich's Superman's Not Coming, Our National Water Crisis, and What We the People Can Do About It. Oh, the white covers, always, it's so hard for them to pick up. Okay, yeah, there we go. And I have seen the Erin Brockovich movie, and I'm not sure how many books she's written, but this is one I heard about, so it intrigued me. This is about how she came upon her story. She right now, I just started, so she's kind of recapping what we know about her already through the movies, about how she got involved in water treatment and the people that she was interviewing and talking with, and then now it's going to current day and how these issues are still happening, and she's kind of empowering all of us so that what can we do? How can we be proactive in our community to find out where our water is coming from, and what's the quality of the water and how we can improve that. And so yeah, this is very I think relevant and very interesting for me to learn about. And then another book is Pound for Pound, a story of one woman's recovery and the shelter dogs who loved her back to life, by Shannon Kopp. And this woman, it's kind of hard to say, she struggled with, I think, anorexia for quite a few years, and then she started working at an SPCA, volunteering at an animal shelter. And so it's all about how she finds compassion and love through working with these animals who I'm sure she saw suffer on a regular basis. These dogs are stuck in these kennels in which they normally would not have chosen to do this. They are very they like to be with their others, or with their other dog friends, or with their humans. And so yeah, I'm sure it's probably a heartbreaking but uplifting book is what I'm thinking. But of course I'll report back and once I find out more. And this next one, going back to kind of the Alaska, the cold winter theme, is Sarah Wheeler's The Magnetic North Travels in the Arctic. And Sarah Wheeler, she wrote, what's the name of it? Arctic Incognito, or something with Incognito in the title. And or Empire Incognito, something like that. And that's about her travels in Antarctica. Whereas this one is about her Arctic, the northern Arctic Circle expedition, and she talks about the different countries that are involved in the Arctic Circle, I think in particular Russia and America, along with some other countries, but I know those two in particular are mentioned, because I was briefly skating what this book was about. And so I think it'd be very interesting to see each country's approach and probably more than likely misuse of that land, and with the oil drilling and things like that. I just this might be, I don't know, a downer of a book, but we'll see. And then I'm going to be reading, kind of speaking of downers, but so far I'm really liking this book. This is Red Comet, The Short Life and Blazing Art of Sylvia Plath by Heather Clark. And I have never read any of Sylvia Plath's work. I think maybe in school I was assigned a couple poems here and there, but I don't have a thorough knowledge of her poetry. I'm not a big poetry reader, but I do want to pick up some of her work now that I'm reading this, because I've heard nothing but good things about this biography. And though I started saying this was a downer, the author of this book, Heather Clark, makes a point that she isn't this, I don't know, Marilyn Monroe tragic literature figure, because she lived a fulfilling life, and she set goals for herself, and she completed, way more than was thought possible for women of her age and background. And her life isn't just how she died. She lived many, many years before that one day. And so, yes, this is very good. I just finished the introduction, and I started reading about her family, her grandparents' background, and how they immigrated from what's now the Poland area, here to America. And it's quite a big book. I think it's something like 700 pages without the notes. I think it's around 700 pages. So yeah, this is for sure one of the ones that I probably will not finish this weekend, but fingers crossed I finish it by the end of November. We'll see. And then the last book I'm going to be reading this weekend is A History of Reading by Alberto Manuel. And this is about his journey through reading, I believe, and also, of course, the history of reading, like the title mentions. Like, it's not just the author or writer's progression throughout the years, the centuries, but it's also how we as readers have interacted with text and how it's influenced us. I believe. Again, I haven't read it yet, so we'll see. But yeah, that's the last book I'm going to be reading this weekend. Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll see. I only have 4.5 days. I got off work a little bit early today, which I'm very thankful for. I've had a very busy last 3 days at work with not much reading done. Because it's like, if it's a shorter work week, then a lot more work is compiled into those 3 days. 40 hours is kind of crammed in there. but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope everyone is going to have a nice Thanksgiving long weekend. If you're in America and you're celebrating Thanksgiving, of course, I hope everyone is staying safe and staying inside and not congregating. Or I know it's really hard. Normally, my family, we don't really have a big Thanksgiving. It's more of like Christmas where everyone gets together. So at least for this holiday in particular, it doesn't really feel out of the norm. I know the last 2 Thanksgivings, me and my boyfriend just had a quiet meal here, and it's easier to do because I don't have to do any elaborate cooking. It's very simple meals. But yes, I hope everyone has a nice weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. And yes, I will report back on how many books I read. We'll see. If anyone wants to take any bets, but anyone wants to guess how many books I'm going to read this weekend, leave in the comments below. We'll see. Okay, thanks. Talk to you soon, book 2.